Man, has it been crazy around here. With this early spring weather that we had in February, it just got everybody going with spring fever so fast, everybody wanting stuff done. And what most people don't realize, I still spend a lot of time in a freaking wheelchair and I still am not walking right, so I cannot do what I used to be able to do anywhere near it. But I'm making the best of what I can and I'm adapting the best that I can. I want to show you through some of the things. This is the motor that's going in this Corvette now, and I want to show you something that you have to do things over the top to make things badass, to make things different than other people are doing. You got to be willing to make some sacrifices into quality and everything, and to make it stand out above everybody else's. Everyone asks me all the time, well, how do your motors look so shiny and everything like that? Well, that's because it's an automotive paint on here, base coat, clear coat. It's got about 4 coats of color on it, 4 coats of clear on it. The heads are painted, the valley cover is painted, the timing chain cover is painted, the water pump is painted, and it's also striped here also. So it's painted silver first and then painted black with these masked off, and then it's clear coated on top of that. So that's why it shines and it looks so much nicer. And now all our front drive accessories on here. This is a March Performance front drive accessory set, and this is the intake manifold for the Cutless. Actually, it's just sitting on this motor right now to see what it would look like on there. This is our laser engraved logo that a friend of mine, Ken Madden, made up for me to laser engrave, and we're also going to add some more details onto that. We got some other valve covers that are in powder coating right now. The oil pan is getting powder coated right now. The intake manifold that's going to go on here is in powder coating now also. So all of that stuff just to make it a super clean, neat install that looks like you can eat off of it. And I want to take you through some of the wiring when we do the wiring on the Cutless. It'll be similar to what we're going to do on here, how to kind of hide and make all the wiring neat and clean as well. That's one of the things with these LS swaps that everybody seems to do, is just lay all the wires over the top of the motor and hook it up to the shortest path, and before you know it, you got this jumbled mess of hoses and wires, and it just looks terrible. So we want to take you through some of that to show you how to do it a little bit neater, cleaner, and make yours stand out so it's a nice, smooth, clean, neat installation. Also, we're working on the Cutless right now. So we got just finishing up the vintage air conditioning that's going in here. We got a little bit more work to do with the duct work and stuff on the back to tie these old square ductworks into round hoses. Same with here. And then all these instruments are coming out of here as well, as long as the heat control, that's also coming out and being replaced with a Dakota digital gauges in it, and then a new controller for the vintage air. And it'll also probably get modified all in here for a different stereo and stuff in here as well. So we got a lot more work to do to this also. So here's our dash for a Cutless, and I want to take you through some of what we've been fighting with. Been fighting with the front suspension on this thing because of the Chinesium of control arms that got put on here, and we had to lengthen those out. The suspension's been in here twice now. Different springs, different suspensions. We got another video of modifying these arms, these Chinesium arms, to make them work. Biggest thing in the world that I would suggest to everybody, do not use the Chinesiums. Buy some nice quality QA1 control arms and you won't have to worry about having to cut them apart and re-weld them and everything, but that's what we had to do to make it work. So now that intake manifold will get onto here, and I want to show you through some of our wiring. So taking our wiring through the firewall is coming in kind of underneath the intake manifold right here. So we'll have a grommet in there that is inside of there that's on the wires right now. So that'll get plugged in, sealed up. But this is the scariest part for everybody for LS swap stuff, and it just cracks me up as it's actually super simple. So right here you got your right bank, your bank one. This is your driver's side, bank one, and you separate it out, and this is literally all you have to hook up right here is you have injector 7, 5, 3, 1 right here, your coil pack wiring right in the middle of that, your throttle position sensor, your IAC valve, your temperature sensor, and your alternator. And there you go. There's the one bank wiring done. And you can't plug it in the wrong spot or anything. The other bank, you're just going to have your coil pack wiring, and in this particular one has got a mass airflow sensor also on it. Your cam position sensor is in the back of the motor. That's separate. Then the oil pressure sending unit is right next to that. That's separate completely. So the ECU doesn't see the oil pressure whatsoever. That is all tied in with the Dakota digital gauge setup. And then it's got a couple outputs for fan relays also. So it can turn, the computer will turn the electric fans on. And to tie all that in, we'll take you through some of that stuff too, to tie into that into the electrical system. Super easy. There's only like 4 wires you have to hook up: an ignition, a tach, a fuel pump relay, and the torque converter lockup if you're using an automatic transmission. That's really all you have to hook up underneath the dash. The rest of it is all plug and play like this. So we got a different AC, or a different alternator and power steering bracket, AC compressor bracket, and I machined all these and everything too to give it a little bit more of a pop, contrast difference and stuff too. And all the AC condenser core is all mounted in here. We just have to put our ends on right now and put our fittings on the rest of our vintage air, and that'll be all hooked up then. So that was some of the changes that came about with this. That wasn't originally going to get that, but then he changed his mind and we're going to add the air conditioning and everything to it. So figure might as well do it right now and be done with it and make all this look nice. That awesome looking intake is going to go on top of here with the Oldsmobile logo on it. Still probably make some different covers for it. Oh, the one thing I want to make sure that I don't forget about also, and this is probably the number one thing that people fuck up when they are screw up, I should say, beep, and, is the grounds. So there's usually 2 grounds, one on each cylinder head from a factory wiring harness. Some of the aftermarket harnesses like this combine it into 1 ground, and that, if you don't hook that up, or if that has a poor connection onto it, you will just be absolutely in pure misery trying to figure out what's going on with this thing. First thing you should do when you get that wiring harness through the firewall and kind of semi-mounted, get your grounds hooked up. Make sure your harness doesn't have 2 grounds, which is a very common thing. So that's a super common thing for people to do, is they hook one of the grounds up and they don't realize there's another one laid back behind the motor, and it just plays absolute hell with you trying to figure out what is going on when you don't have a ground hooked up. So your oil pressure sending unit should get hooked up and tied into your gauges before you put the intake manifold on, because once you put the intake manifold on, it's really hard to get at the back of the motor, especially like this motor is pushed back almost to the firewall because the power steering pulley just barely clears the steering box right here. So in order to get it back far enough, you lose access to everything back there. So you're going to hook up your oil pressure, you're going to hook up your gauges, you're going to hook up your grounds first, and then you're going to start running your wires forward. Super simple. They're kind of going to lay into the spot that they go into, and then we'll just neaten it all up from there. So we're going to take you through some of that. We're going to get this radiator fans mounted in. We'll take you through some of the wiring to tie that in with the ECU and stuff also. And this thing's just about ready to fire up here pretty soon. We still got to get our regulator in here, our fuel lines, and get that hooked up, but we're getting closer now where this thing's almost ready to fire up and get this thing on the road and see where it goes. So lots of stuff going on around here, and we got also this 61 Corvette. We're going to cut the whole front of it off here coming up. We're going to cut the whole frame off right from here in the front of the firewall. We're going to cut that completely off. We're going to drop this out of here, and we're going to remake this whole frame and front suspension and everything for it as well. So we'll take you through that, and we'll also take you through the alignment of that Cutless by just using a couple 4-foot levels, couple tape measures, and a angle protractor gauge, and we'll show you how to do an alignment at your home with just basic hand tools. So when you take your car out on the road, you can just tape measure, align it, and get it super close where you can drive it just the way that it is without wearing your expensive tires and wheels out. And if you want to take it to an alignment shop after that, that's fine, but you don't even have to actually. It's that accurate to do it with just a tape measure and levels. So we're going to take you through some of that stuff. We got so much cool stuff coming up, guys. Stay tuned for a lot more. We're going to watch some fire coming out of this thing, some fire coming out of that thing, and some smoke and some rumbling coming up here soon. So stay tuned for more, guys. We got a lot more coming up. Don't forget to like this video. Click like, throw me a comment, let me know what you think. Ring the bell for those notifications when we get a new video. We got lots more coming up, guys. A lot of cool stuff coming up. I hope you guys are enjoying the